Hey guys, it's Taylor with Alldogs Offroad. I purchased a 1987 Suzuki Samurai. It needs quite a bit of work, but I think I'm up for the challenge. I actually had a Samurai in high school and it was my favorite thing ever. So when I finally found one that was reasonably priced and didn't need a ton of work, I decided to bite the bullet and we're gonna build this together. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the main things, give you a tour and a walk around of what we're working with, base start. Hopefully we'll get it all documented along the way. I don't want to change anything out without you guys because this is a really big project for me and I don't want to have to redo it. This is my 1987 Suzuki Samurai. When I was looking for a Samurai, the tin top wasn't on my list of requirements, but it's a really awesome bonus. It does need quite a bit of body work. The fenders are rusted and the wheels are as well. It is missing the spare, which I will need, and we're currently looking for a wheel to match the rest. Removing the tent that's peeling on the back windows is on my list of small projects. I'll probably start working on that this week and hopefully it doesn't take me very long. You can see the interior isn't the prettiest, but in fairly decent condition, minus the hole in the floorboard on the driver's and passenger side. There won't be a lot of cosmetic updates. The headlights will probably be replaced and I might get a different front bumper. On the driver's side, the headlights nor the taillights work, but once again, it's on our list of small projects. Future improvements that I don't really cover in this video will be the suspension. We'll do a 2-inch lift with leaf springs, a front shock relocate with new shocks, and for the drive terrain, we'll re-gear the front and rear diffs and maybe re-gear the transfer case eventually. We've also already ordered a new exhaust header. I purchased this for $3,000 off Facebook Marketplace, and I'd like to keep the entire build under $5,000. I'll continue to update you on the costs throughout the series, but by doing the labor ourselves, I think that $5,000 is a pretty reasonable budget. The main goal for this build is to keep it really budget friendly. I would like it to be off-road capable, but also street drivable. It's about 2 hours from our closest trail, and I would like to bring this along when the rest of everybody goes out so that I can be a part of the group, but also get the content that I need. I need to get this thing ready to go and drivable on the highway so that I can make it there by the time that everybody else is getting started. I'm not going to drive this as my daily driver. I have absolutely no intentions of giving up my heated seats or adaptive cruise control or any of those things, but I'm really excited to get started on this. When we bought it, we were up in Omaha, Nebraska, in a grocery store parking lot. The owner texted me before he got there and was like, hey, I killed the battery, I left the lights on the night before. I will jumpstart it and get it over to you. So when he showed up, I was super excited. I got in to test drive it. I can drive a stick shift, I thought. It's been a few years, but I killed it right away. And after 2 or 3 times of doing that, it didn't want to start anymore. So a couple of guys ran down the middle of the parking lot trying to bump start it in order to get it to run and get it back home. I thought I had it on video, and unfortunately I have 30 seconds of my toes when I started it instead of stopped the video. I did not have the capability to drive it home, so thankfully Chad was able to. It was slow moving. This thing tops out about 55 if you're risky. I don't think that I would drive it at 55 miles an hour, but we're gonna get there. And you guys are gonna come along for the ride. So on that note, let's open her up because I know how to do that now. And we'll point out some original parts and pieces of what's going on. Oh, thank goodness I'm done. I got it. All right, so first things first with this, it did have a pretty gross oil leak So we're gonna go ahead and change the valve cover gasket, but we're also gonna cover our bases and change the oil pan gasket. I'll get there. I went to O'Reilly's myself and purchased the valve cover gasket. It was, I think, $16. I think that I can probably switch that out myself.
We're gonna make her do it, guys.
So they're gonna force me to do this. The first thing we're gonna do is change out some leaky gaskets. The second thing we're gonna do is an ignition tune-up. Change out. No, I have an idea. No, you're gonna be able to see it. Spark plugs, air filter. We didn't even say air filter yet.
We're not there yet.
Okay. Plug wires, distributor cap and rotor. What am I doing to the distributor cap and rotor?
Replacing them.
Replacing. Okay, the coil thing isn't on there. We're just replacing the coil, singular.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
This is like a quiz and I'm like B level right now. I've done this before and I understand it, and then as soon as I get in front of the camera, I'm like, I can rename every single part in here by what I think it's in my head. So the first thing we're gonna do is replace a couple of gaskets. Then we're going to replace the coil. We're going to replace the distributor cap and rotor, and then the plug wires, as well as the spark plugs.
You can see that the plug right now is really rich. So we're hoping that improving the ignition system and then also changing out the air filter, which Taylor's going to point out for you in a second, will help with that condition.
This sucker is the air filter. I can't believe I remember that.
Good job. It's
only taken me 40 tries to say all those things. So this should be really exciting. Future improvements, we're definitely going to do suspension because not only does it need it, but we're a suspension shop, and that's probably the part of this that I'm most familiar with, other than the fact that it's not a Nissan or Tacoma or whatever the heck. The other part that I'm really excited about is it's going to need a radio. Right now it's probably so loud that you wouldn't be able to hear a radio.
That is correct.
But I want one, and eventually I'll need it. The drivetrain, we're gonna re-gear the front and rear diff. I'm not recording. All right, because Chad had the luxury of driving it 50 miles back to Lincoln on the highway, I'm gonna have him tell you a little bit more about that experience and why we have to do some re-gearing.
When we grabbed this vehicle from Omaha, I had the pleasure of driving it home in the rain with windshield wipers that do not wipe, they just smear. But the previous owner to that had put on larger tires. I think from the factory this would have come with about a 26-inch diameter tire. What's on here now is roughly about a 29. I think it's a 235, 75, 15 if I remember correctly. But in real world driving, what that means is that the 5-speed transmission and the stock 373 gears that are in this truck are not very well matched together. So driving back from Omaha, this thing was screaming, mostly in 3rd gear, occasionally in 4th gear. Couldn't get it into 5th gear. It would even in 4th gear, if you weren't on dead level ground, it would just lose momentum and just kind of so other than doing the maintenance stuff like Taylor mentioned, we're gonna probably pretty quickly do a re-gear. And with these Samurais, there are 2 different things you can do. You can re-gear the front and rear ring and pinion, or you can swap in new transfer case gears that affect both the high range and the low range. And we're going to do the ring and pinions first, but we may eventually also do the transfer case gears. And now back to Taylor.
The most important part is I want to do this budget friendly. I don't want to throw all this money into something that I'm not going to drive every day, and I'm going to love it just as rickety and budget friendly as it is. All in all, I am definitely not an expert at this, and I'm super lucky to have two guys here at the shop that are going to help me along the way so that I don't screw anything up, or at least can fix all my screw ups as I do. But I'm gonna try to do this at least hands-on, not necessarily on my own, but I'm gonna actually do the working on the car as much as I can. If you are at all interested or want to support me, or laugh at how ridiculous this might be along the way, go ahead and like, follow, subscribe to our channel so that you can check it out. Thank you. Today we're going to do something a little bit different on our channel. I recently and unfortunately I have 30 seconds of my toes when I started it instead of stopped the video. So I'm not doing that because I'm gonna charge for any videos of my feet.
Alldogs Samurai OnlyFans.
No, there will not be an OnlyFans for this, but so we're gonna go ahead and change the valve cover gasket, but we're also gonna cover our bases and
Change the oil pan gasket is what she means to say.
but we're also gonna cover our bases and change the oil cover gasket as well.
Oil pan gasket. Basically, we'll just have it sitting.
And
You
then I
can
pop her
grab
out.
it and
And then we're gonna move to the coils and the nope, fuck.
It's one coil, not coils. Coils would be for suspension.
I don't know. I can't words.
I know. And
And
point out
say
the camera.
Plug wires and Jesus, I spark plugs.
Plugs and-
I know what a spark plug is.
Yes, the plug is fouled right now.
That's a bad thing.
It's, yeah.
So that's the old one.
Yes.
Said it's still pretty shiny.
Well, the outside isn't, that's not what matters. Give me a high five.
I'm fine. I'm just sweating a lot.
I think the problem is in your head you think that you have to sound like an expert, and you don't.
I'm definitely not an expert. If I could rename every single one of these parts as to what it means to me.
The sparky stick, the wiry wire.
Well, I need
Yeah.
a label maker just to. If I set this here, is that cheating? Is that even on my list?
Can you read it?
Cap and gasket.
Cap and rotor.
Fucking rotor. Refresh the coils. The cap and rotor.
I would change it out, not refresh. Yeah.
You said refresh last time. Do something with this rotor and
Yeah.
cap. It's not spark lines. It's fucking hose plugs. Plugs. There's gonna be lots of edits. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you continue along on this journey with me. You can follow parts of it on our Instagram at Celiac Samurai. It's CELIAC_samurai. And subscribe to our channel to continue watching our videos.